Welcome to Matters Financial and Geopolitical from a Frontier. Thank you as always for stopping by. I'm always grateful. This from Lakota Man, which is a quote that Barack Obama made. Unless you were a Native American, you came from someplace else. I think it's very powerful, isn't it? Watch the sunrise or set as often as possible. This is Derek and Beverly Jhabvala. Duba sunset in Botswana, and it's they've done some fantastic wildlife documentaries. I can't recommend them enough. And I've discovered an older one which is about a family of lions and a family of hyenas, and it's unputdownable. On that note, this is sunrise with a herd of elephants, finch hattons in the Tsavo, and this is the sunrise at Mount Kenya Safari Club, tinting clouds. Mount Kenya Safari Club, of course, was founded by William Holden, who was the best man at Ronald Reagan's wedding to Nancy Davis, and founded the Mount Kenya Safari Club in Nanyuki in 1959. Excellent article about Ruth Prawer Jhabvala, who in fact was not Indian, but married to an Indian Parsi, and the art of ambivalence in the New Yorker. The beginning of 1962, a tall, thin-lipped 33-year-old named James Ivory and a charming, cleft-chinned 25-year-old named Ismail Merchant turned up on the doorstep of a bungalow on Delhi's Alipur Road. Ivory was a budding film director, Merchant a budding film producer. Together they were hoping to adapt a novel called The Householder, a social satire of contemporary Delhi, and had decided to approach the author to ask if she would help them turn it into a film. Ruth Prawer Jhabvala, diminutive, dark-haired, did not imagine herself to be a budding screenwriter. When they first telephoned her, she pretended to be her mother-in-law to put them off. I told them I've never done anything like this before, she later recalled, but they said it doesn't matter, we haven't either, which I thought was rather clever. Jhabvala sketches character and by implication plot in a few quick flicks, as in a tale of two rivalrous brothers, the elder with his silk suit, his big ring, his oiled and scented hair, and the younger, puny and insignificant, who works as a shop attendant with just the right mixture of dignity and obsequiousness. Read the review, it's rather brilliant. Let me just read you one more bit. The 1960s brought a new wave of ebullient Westerners to India to find themselves, and Jhabvala was waiting with a skewer. Which yoga do you do? Hatha yoga or bhakti yoga or what? The European seeker asks the Indian hero of The Householder. None, he confesses. Well, you should, she chides. How do you think you'll meet the eternal and the infinite if you don't? And then she's describing Swamiji. She knew without a word being spoken that he meant her to follow him back to India. This will not end well for her. In Jhabvala's fiction, gurus are to a man grifting, lecherous, manipulative, and successful. I have many warm invitations from America, Swamiji said, from California especially. And then she then went back to New York, and she captured it in the snatches of street smells, petrol fumes, leaking gas pipes, newly poured tar, pretzels, mangoes from Mexico, Chinese noodles, and overblown flowers. Which is, I must say, my first impression of New York was just like that. I just joined CSFB, it was my first business trip ever, and I ended up staying there over the weekend, and that's how I recall it. Those environments that we saw as wild are not wild at all, said Vernay Habask of The Guardian. And this is a great story about laser technology allowing people to discover what's lying beneath the ground. Communities living in much of South Africa's Kruger National Park were forcibly removed when it was established as a nature reserve. Even the famous savanna across much of the continent has been worked by man, with many plants relatively recent introductions by local communities. Those environments that we saw as wild are not wild at all. This is a laser image of Kweneng overlaid on a map of the area. Have a look.